little bit better today, right now, than he did when he came in. So we'll see what he's like during the game.
This was yesterday to see if you can kind of get through it with just hitting and not playing the field.
Yeah, I think, and it's when you play so much. You're on turf, you're on grass, you're on turf. It catches up to you a little bit. So just being extra careful with him.
Any imaging scheduled right now?
Nope.
Was this one of those with Bo where he wanted to play and you kind of had to pull him back?
Yeah, a little bit. He always wants to play, but I think just in talking to him, you always try to gauge with how much he does or doesn't fight it too. So I think it just seemed like the right thing to do today.
Would you have made this lineup or some form of lineup change even if Bo had been in there today?
We hadn't planned on it, no. But something new is always exciting. I think we'll see how it rolls out, and it's just a chance to kind of see how guys do in certain spots. See how tonight goes and go from there.
Well, what do you like about Tony in front of that?
Hopefully he gets a few more pitches to hit. I think Tony's going to get pitched however he's going to get pitched. There's a few guys on each team that you're going to get pitched if you hit 1 or 9 the same way. So I think having a little bit of protection there, having a switch hitter there after a lefty, kind of is enticing too. And when Tony's at his best, he's seen a starter multiple times and getting a chance to do some damage. So hopefully that's the case tonight.
When Bo comes back, do you know where you're going to put him, or is it TBD based on how this looks? Or
we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I said it in spring training. Bo's been one of our most consistent hitters, and I know in spring training we talked about not really having a set lineup. We've had a pretty set lineup for the most part, and I don't want to get too caught up in this road trip in particular, but see how today goes. Baseball's a funny thing, and if you adjust, you adjust. But if you do, it's just really trying to just put guys in spots to have success without changing their approach. So we'll see. It could very, very easily be Bo at the top tomorrow, as long as he's feeling good. I know we're seeing 3 lefties against the A's, not Oakland, the A's. So we'll see kind of how it goes.
You a little thin on infield coverage tonight, then?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. I think it all depends on kind of how Bo feels throughout the course of the game, and I know that Miles has done that in the past. Got an inning or 2 over in Tampa in a non-ideal situation, but yeah, definitely a little thin tonight.
So it's possible Bo could be available.
Yeah, I think just seeing how he feels throughout the game. Yeah.
John, what has it been like to have Max Scherzer around, and how has he impacted guys like Bowden and some of the younger guys?
Yeah, I've been asked this a lot. I think every day is an adventure with Max in a good way. We have conversations almost daily. He kind of just wanders into my office, and we end up talking for either 5 or 45 minutes about stuff. He's done more things than most people have thought of at this level. So he's been good. It took him a little bit to kind of feel everyone out, and I think he's at the point where he understands how each guy needs to be addressed and talked to, and he sees everything. It's not just with pitchers. Pitchers are definitely picking his brain too. Whether it's Kev and Chris, who are veteran guys, or Hosey, veteran guy, and Bowden is attentive to everyone, I feel like. But Max sees things. He sees base running. He sees where guys are positioned. Just a student of the game, if you will. He's been good.
John, with Paxton going today, does that give you an option to push Lauer to tomorrow just to give your guys a break? Are you going to do anything with the rotation?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're gonna definitely try to use the off day Monday to kind of give guys a little bit of a blow. And I think today, you kind of see how Pax does and how his pitch kind of unfolds and where we need to go when. But Lauer is definitely available today, and right now is part of the plan. So we'll kind of see how the first couple innings shake out and go from there. But I don't think that it would be very unlikely, I think, to just push Lauer all the way to tomorrow.
What kind of length do you think you can get from Paxton, or what are you looking for from today?
We'll see. I mean, he's kind of unique to where, he can go 60 pitches. If that's the case tonight, I'm probably not, what I mean? But he has the ability to do that. So it kind of all depends on where the lineup is kind of landing each time through, and who we know who we have available. But a few innings would be awesome, I think.
What made him the choice to start today?
I think the fact that he has that available length, that he has pitches that can kind of combat both righties and lefties. We weren't sure if Seager was going to be active. Threw a little wrench in our plans a little bit, but I mean, I think when you're looking to kind of navigate, multiple innings with a guy, you got to have multiple pitches, and he has that. So, he's kind of the easy choice.
Schneider with this. It's going to be a very late night for the team.
Yeah.
Is Barrios in Toronto?
Yeah, he's already there.
He's already there.
Yeah, he's already there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get in, I think, around 4. So, yeah, he was already there.
He's the only one.
Yeah.
John, we were talking with Kevin the other day about kind of the growth in Kirky's kind of game calling. What have you seen from him over the last couple of years in that area?
Man, I think that I've talked about this again. I think kind of like the last thing for Kirky in that position is just kind of reading the situation, reading what each situation calls for, and being able to adjust in real time. He's gotten really good at kind of formulating a game plan with Pete and the starters, and I think just really, what we are focusing on is whether it's a reliever or starter, kind of what the situation is, what are you seeing from the guy's stuff, and how is it going to play right now. So there's definitely been growth, and there's always going to be room for opportunity in that position as you keep playing. But he's come a long way, I think, even just in the first part of this season on that.
Is there, it seems like it would be a difficult thing to kind of like evaluate using numbers. Like, how do you, after a start, kind of evaluate how a game call went?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like, it's like an after-action report with Pete and the pitchers. It's what were you thinking here and why? Did that deviate from the plan we had? If it did, so be it. Why? Have a reason for it. And when you're sitting here watching from the side, or especially when you're behind the plate, you can see what a hitter's doing and how they're reacting to each pitch. And having the ability to kind of just say, okay, this is the right call because of what I'm seeing is a big part of it, and not just saying, okay, the book says throw this. That's what I look at, is situations where, if a guy has a definite out pitch, whether it's a starter or reliever, and you can deviate and get a guy out based on what you're seeing, that's the definition of a big league catcher, I think.
How much weight do you put into runners in scoring position performance over like 5 game samples?
5 game, not much. If we're looking at 55 games, yeah, for sure. It's again, we were at home, and this topic isn't even coming up, and there's been some balls hit hard, and there's some good plays being made on us, and there's been some times where we haven't gotten it done. It happens, you know what I mean? So it takes one game to kind of break out of that and to have people stop talking about that. But it's in a 5 game span, man. It's kind of the way this team has been playing too, and it seems like we're pretty well accustomed to these 1-run games, but it'll happen. You got to just stay positive, and you got to trust the guys and make sure the guys aren't hard on it. It could be anyone in the lineup, and it takes a couple to kind of get the ball rolling.
Does that kind of go both ways for you as well? Like, if you were 20 for 50, would you also not put that much weight into it?
Kinda, yeah. I'd like it a lot more, obviously, but I think it's such a delicate thing. You look around the league. I think when teams really get hot, you're looking at the bottom line, and it kind of says 450 average with runners in scoring position in the last 10 games, and and then it usually says like previous 10 they were 120. It comes and it goes, with every team. So you got to kind of ride the wave with it a little bit.
Joe, what did you hear back on Swanson, and is he on the horizon? Is he another?
Yeah, talked to Eric today. He's going to pitch one more time tomorrow in Buffalo, and then he's going to drive up. They have a doubleheader, I believe, tomorrow. He's going to pitch in the second game there tomorrow, then drive up to beat us on tomorrow night in Toronto and kind of make a plan going forward, and see where we kind of land on that. But he's going to do one more tomorrow.
Did he have like almost too quick of an inning last night? 'Cause,
yeah, 9 pitches, right? Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think what we're looking at is what's best for him first and foremost, and kind of what's best for us in terms of covering innings, and today's a little bit unique and things like that, and you want to try to just make sure you're covered in all areas. I think when Swanee does get back, he's a 1-inning guy, so we'll kind of cross that bridge on Friday after we talk about it.
Did Marshall's got a fair bit of experience as a leadoff hitter with Arizona. Did that play into it at all, or is he just the best guy for the job?
Yeah, I think he's the best guy for the job. Just kind of, when we changed it, it wasn't like I had to have a huge conversation with Marsh. He's accustomed to being everywhere, I think, and I really like the way he's swinging the bat. Maley's tough. He's almost tougher on lefties, I feel like, with the way he pitches with the fastball and slider and split. So kind of throw that out the window a little bit, and you watch how Dalton swing, it made sense.
John, the Turnbull's velo was down pretty noticeably yesterday. Just what did you hear after that? Anything physical going on there?
Yeah, didn't hear anything medically, that was alarming at all. I know it's from experience, it's hot down there, and he's still in the process of building up. So there's probably going to be a few bumps in the road, and that is the one area we're trying to kind of iron out as he continues to get built up and see how it rolls out next time out.
Is he going to get a bump next time up?
That was the plan, yeah. I think we'll probably decide that tomorrow, kind of what he's doing in between outings, yeah.
Is Jimenez starting to re-up assignment?
Oh, yeah, Hemi's starting down with Gill in Florida tonight. He's playing like 7 to 9 innings today, 7 to 9 innings tomorrow, or 9 innings tomorrow. All reports have been really good from everything, running, hitting, throwing. So, yeah, anxious to get him back. How many games he plays, I'm not sure yet. We're going to kind of be in touch with him, but he's definitely going to play there, start tonight, and then again tomorrow.
Straight into the field?
Yeah.
No DH day?
Yep, second base.
Thanks, John.
Cool.
Hey,
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.